Hello, here we are again in this weekly appointment to present Not Tweets, These Are Stories. Today we're in Caracas, the Venezuelan capital, joined by Bolívar, the father of the greater motherland. Not Tweets, These Are Stories is the space that invites you to open a window to the world and see what's happening there. We have nothing against tweets, but our focus is the stories. So welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Here we are on Not Tweets, These Are Stories.
Mira, pulseras, tobilleras, zarcillos, atrapasueños. ¡Ey! No son tweets, son historias.
Considered a hero for his devastation of the Caribbean on behalf of Her Majesty, Queen Elizabeth I, perverse Sir Francis Drake not only filled the treasures of England, but his own too. But this story is not about rich, cruel and famous pirates. This pirate's story takes place at one of the most impoverished and pillaged countries of the world.
Somalia is already known as the country of the pirates, the endless war that started in 1991, and the anarchy that governs both land and sea have turned this African country into the perfect place for all sorts of illegal interests. Since 2005, 150 ships have been kidnapped, and according to UN figures, almost $400 million have been collected in ransoms. But there are other less visible realities at the roots of the problem: illegal fishing by big international fleets, the sacking of the fishing resources of local villages, the dumping of toxic products at Somalia's beautiful coast, the mafias behind the pirates, and especially the desperation of many young men that feel forced to grab a Kalashnikov based on the promises of a better future. We are arriving in Galicia, home of one of the latest Spaniard kidnapping victims, Manuel Tellez. Captain of the ship Sakova was quietly sleeping in his quarters. The fishing boat was 600 miles off Somalian coast, in the coast of Tanzania, when a small boat caught him by surprise in the middle of the night. The second officer in charge that morning was not doing his job.
Cuando los piratas realmente llegaron a bordo, él pues se había quedado dormido en la silla de mando, o sea, donde se maniobra el barco, que normalmente se sienta uno para maniobrar, y estaba dormido. Y él realmente cuando se enteró fue cuando los otros le pusieron el cañón del fusil en la cabeza.
The pirates already had control of the ship. Once on board, their priority was finding the captain. Tell us about that moment, during your cabin, and then what?
Estaba despierto porque había escuchado los tiros fuera y eso es anormal. Entonces me he despertado. Automáticamente ya me estaba levantando cuando ellos empezaron a abrir la puerta. Veo que me abren la puerta, veo un señor un negro con un arma en la mano y detrás de él otro con un fusil. Me agarra de la mano, porque yo ya me estaba incorporando, me agarra de la mano, me lleva para afuera y entonces automáticamente me dice dónde está la tripulación, que quiere despertarlos y quiere verlo.
Manuel Tellez, almost with no time to get dressed and grabbed by a pirate, went to each of the cabins to wake the crew up. All of them were forced to go to the deck.
Y se iban tumbando, por órdenes de ellos, se iban tumbando de uno en uno, ahí todos en la popa, con la barriga hacia abajo, las manos cruzadas en la espalda, y luego había 3 o 4 con los fusiles apuntando a todos ellos por si había algún movimiento raro, y ahí iban quedando según iban subiendo.
During the first few days, the pirates used the Sakova as the mother ship to get to other ships. They managed to kidnap oil tanker Ocean. Then they ordered to head toward the coast of Somalia. 16 crew members lived with the pirates for 4 long months. During this long relationship, they got to know them, their quirks and customs.
Yo utilizaba un poco esta relación por interés propio, porque a veces había que intervenir por motivos determinados. Y al tener un poco más de si quieres llamar la amistad con ese o con el otro, pues lo utilizabas en función de aquello que necesitabas.
Although he held it together during his captivity, and today he barely feels any discomfort due to it, Manuel Tellez lost 61 pounds, and he reached one clear conclusion: he will never go back to the ocean.
No quiero más índico porque me quedé harto de índico. Que lo considero muy peligroso.
Piratas somalíes que ayer atacaron el Albacán.
En el buque había 33 marineros a bordo.
We visited the Horn of Africa to see the weak boats in which the pirates get to sea, and we also witnessed the presence of private security that protects fishing companies and commodities transports. We see the precarious situation of Somalia, we see poverty and the reality of pirates, unexperienced young men, many of which die when they get lost at sea or because of gunfights with security forces. The ocean is governed by the rule of the fittest, and here nobody has to give any explanations.
A person who is 20 years old, barely with a girlfriend, how can he ask for $50 million? Does he understand what that money is all about? This is somebody who would just need maybe $1,000 at the most to survive. Why is he asking all this money? From that, you have already the evidence that maybe this is just some people being used.
Francis Kadima is the best-known lawyer of pirates in Kenya. From the coast of Mombasa, he explains the reality of his very unique clients.
There is no evidence to show that from the time they were being arrested and brought to court, the incidence of piracy has reduced. Because the reasons why this is happening are still there. The failed state of Somalia.
This failed state, an outlaw, is today the perfect breeding ground from illegal fishing. Many organizations have denounced the exploitation of fishing and the stealing of resources in the coast of Somalia, a country that is also the victim of famine and permanent poverty. Is it true that international tuna companies are overexploiting the Indian Sea?
Pues en países como Somalia, que tienen tanta problemática en sus propios gobiernos internos, con lo cual las aguas son una cosa que obviamente está menos legislada que el terreno, que la tierra, las flotas pesqueras españolas y francesas, entre otras muchas, están aprovechándose de esa falta de legislación, capturando todo lo que puedan capturar y luego blanqueándolo o vendiéndolo en nuestros mercados europeos. Están esquilmando los mares porque a esas poblaciones que no tienen recursos les están quitando su recurso de pesca, su recurso alimentario, para poder venderlo y comérnoslo nosotros como consumidores en Europa.
Piracy in Somalia is based on two irrefutable facts. On the one hand, the invasion of the big international tuna fleets, and on the other, a 20-year-old war. For many Somalians, the only solution is to get to the sea.
John Cuesta, desde Galicia, para Telesur.
We still have two more stories to tell you, one of those that go over 140 characters. Remember, this is not tweets, these are stories. We'll be right back. I know I'm not. That's what one of the most popular tangos of our time says. The following story, just like Horacio Ferrer's tango, has to do with a manifestation of insanity that actually seems like an act of perfect sanity.
No son tweets, son historias.
Buenos Aires, Argentina. In a society exposed to the economic instabilities of today, many citizens resist the constant offerings of the market with alternative proposals, both for production and consumption. In the face of the inflationary speculation and the unbridled offerings of the agricultural industry, small producers, artisans, and recyclers of products and ideas make way to new generations of conscious consumers. The Borda Psychiatric Hospital, founded in 1863, currently has over 700 patients. After World War I, it accepted the largest number of patients. 100 years later, the hospital not only has the largest and oldest urban vegetable garden of the Argentinian capital, but it also opens its doors to external volunteers and collaborators.
Esta huerta pertenece a la red de huertas urbanas comunitarias. Es así que acá se lleva adelante un dispositivo, si se quiere, terapéutico, que es importante para sanarnos, estar rodeado de naturaleza, es volver un poco a la fuente, vivir, habitar espacios como estos.
At the Sowing Life Vegetable Garden, they produce organic food, medicinal and ornamental plants, and they keep a space for healing and integration that fights the chemical and synthetic products of psychiatric drugs.
En la huerta hay papa, plantamos papa, se come palta, hay un árbol de mora. Viene toda gente así que no tiene trabajo, colaborar un poco con nosotros.
Alejandro, coordinator of the project, works with the patients at the vegetable garden, sowing not only food, but also awareness in the patients and visitors.
Eso, somos todos semillitas que interactuamos para generar diversidad. La diversidad es la soberanía, es la libertad. Sé que todo es de todos y que todo está vivo en mí. Cuando venimos, lo primero que hacemos, nos tomamos unos matecitos. Venimos de afuera con todo lo que hay. En el afuera venimos acá a un espacio donde hay una armonía natural. Entonces, ¿qué mejor que ponernos en común? A favor de mi espíritu y camino a la eternidad. En este proceso de inclusión, si se quiere, de integración, nos estemos armonizando a través de las plantas y no tanto los químicos que tanto abundan en los hospitales del mundo.
Toda clase de género humano, natural, silvestre, animal, lo que sea, todas las cosas tienen vida. Y acá también, la arquitectura como va a ser en el día de mañana, las cosas como la queremos hacer nosotros. Esta es la arquitectura.
Antes no te dejaban sacar nada de nada. La gente que estaba a cargo. Y la idea, la filosofía es al revés, ¿viste? Hagamos más, ¿querés? Bueno, pongamos otro árbol más de esto y llevate lo que quieras.
El sujeto social cotidiano labura 10, 12 o 14 horas, es explotado, consume televisión basura, compra medios basura, o sea, le es funcional a toda esta vorágine de consumo hegemónico, capitalismo. Por eso es importante volver a la fuente, es importantísimo hacer eso que está haciendo Gaby ahí. Dejar de vender discursos que no dicen nada y ponerse a laburar la tierra, a ganarse callos en las manos.
According to the World Health Organization, 25% of the population in the big cities need or will need psychiatric support in their life, although they are the victims of the lack of restraint of the world. The so-called mentally ill suffer social discrimination that keeps them alienated. However, although for most mortals they lost their mind, evidence makes us think that it's the contemporary world that's lost it. Maybe it will be them, the crazies and dreamers of today and always, that will help and guide us in finding ourselves.
Desde Buenos Aires, Ana Bravo, para Telesur.
Stories longer than 140 characters. This is not tweets, these are stories. We'll be right back. Alright kids, what kind of music do you like? Bachata, reggaeton, salsa, merengue. Now, I'm going to talk about the music that comes from Africa. Cesaria Evora is the famous barefoot diva. She's discovered the soft melancholy of the Morna from Cabo Verde in Africa. Every day, in Mindelos, there is a man that builds instruments, so that this music never dies out.
Have you ever thought about becoming a musician?
Não, logo quando vou entrar na Batista, uma escola de música, mas só um tempo depois me largar. De pensar, nunca tinha tanto vocação para tocar. De pensar, nunca saber. Não dizemos nada, mas eu preferi a minha parte de construção.
This is a country of musicians, not builders. In Cabo Verde, there are many string instruments players, professionals, and those who play just for pleasure. Violas, guitars, and ukuleles are popular. However, the number of stringed musical instruments builders is very small.
O número de construtores de instrumentos musicais de corda.
Aniceto Gomes has been an artisan for over 30 years. The guitar shop is located at the neighborhood of Monte Sossego, in the city of Mindelo. His hands produce violas, guitars, ukuleles, mandolins, and Portuguese guitars.
Minha Batista também está a fazer guitarra portuguesa. Durante o tempo que eu tive mais, eu fazer 2 guitarras portuguesas. Então, eu tenho que fazer uma guitarra portuguesa também. Então, eu ganhei dia com fazer aquela guitarra portuguesa e pessoas a gostar dela, todas as exposições que estava. Ela é uma peça importante da minha exposição, por isso que até hoje não tenho ali, porque a minha ideia é vender.
The walls of the shop are covered with tools and mementos, especially of Mr. Batista, the biggest reference in the construction of these instruments in Cabo Verde, and Aniceto's mentor.
É pezinho novo, portanto precisa não só de uma pessoa para educar, para ensinar-me alguma coisa na vida. Pronto, para mim foi uma grande felicidade ter botado para aquela oficina, porque lá nunca aprender só a trabalhar, aprender muita coisa de vida, porque pronto, um adolescente de 15 anos me imaginava que não sabia praticamente nada. Então ali, como ouvir algumas conversas de adultos, como me tornar homem, porque me tornar homem na oficina minha Batista.
The guitar shop is small. There is a space for only 2 or 3 apprentices. This is also the dream of Aniceto Gomes, who wants to transform this shop into a musical instruments building school. He was already an apprentice, and now he wants to be a mentor.
É bem aprender a lixar, aprender a conhecer as ferramentas, até que ele chegar a um ponto de construção. É sempre prático. Minha meta hoje é o quê? É mostrar a realidade diretamente. Não escrever esta que estás a mostrar a gente onde é não te bate. Não te bate aprender por dia a dia, não te bate o lugar. Mas hoje, minha meta é te mostrar logo onde é que é a etapa que isto tem que ir. Isto tem que trabalhar para chegar lá.
Construction techniques for musical instruments are passed from one generation to the next in workshops like this, from father to son, from mentor to apprentice. Knowledge is local, but raw materials are imported, from dyes to varnishes, from the metal to the wood.
Nós usamos contraplacados de vários tipos que tem no mercado. Nós usamos madeira casquinha, que é para fazer aquele interior. Pronto, madeira, vamos ver, na Cabo Verde nós é limitado de madeira. Então madeira que este importar, a maior parte da madeira que nós usamos é madeira usada na construção de mobília e de construção civil.
At the guitar shop, the most produced instrument is the cavaquinho, which is also very popular in Brazil and Hawaii, where it's known as ukulele. In the music of Cabo Verde, the ukulele is traditionally used to set the rhythm. In the last 20 years, however, it has gained a lot of ground as a solo instrument.
Porque assim isto usa tudo de música que tem. Ele tem bom timbrado, então ele diz que a música sabe. Então, isto usa na morna, coladeira, samba, e tudo música entrar.
Jassa, a musician that played with Cesaria Évora for 4 years, played a ukulele made by Aniceto Gomes for the recording of Café Atlântico. Then, he accompanied the diva on her tour around the 5 continents.
Tive no lugar, Europa, África. Eu estive no Brasil, Austrália.
E Ásia?
Não vai para o Japão. Então, chegando a mim, perguntar-me um instrumento é esse. Tipicamente, onde é que ele também é? De Cabo Verde. Então, isto pergunta logo onde é que é Cabo Verde. Ficar situado. Então, para te explicar isto mais ou menos, isto é admirado.
Just like someone hearing a familiar melody, it's Cabo Verde's music in its natural environment, played with string instruments at the door of Aniceto Gomez, at the shop that's served so many professional musicians and popular players.
Matilde Dias, Telesur, Cabo Verde.
Que mostrabas caminho longe, esse caminho passando-me. Que mostrabas caminho longe, que mostrabas caminho longe, esse caminho passando-me. Saudade, saudade, saudade desse minha terra sem claro.
And with two of the greats of Venezuelan art and music, we get to the end of our program for this week. With Armando Reveron and Ali Primera, the invitation is for the chroniclers of the world to get in touch with us. No son tweets, son historias at telesurtv.net. Remember that when a story is worth telling, it's impossible to do so in just 140 characters. We'll meet again. Have a good time. We'll see you again on Not Tweets. These are stories.